Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Detail Rag podcast, episode number 60. It is Shootin' the Shine with Sprenger number 5. Before we get started, I just want to remind you guys that I have some, I know, shameless plug. I appreciate it. I apologize. Shameless plug, thedetailrag.com. Head down to the Share the Shine button, click, find some merch. There's some new shirts and some new coffee mugs. So otherwise, you can find it through the link on Instagram. Mr. Paul Sprenger in the house. Sir, how are you tonight?
Good. Is this really our 5th one we've done?
This is the 5th Shootin' the Shine with Sprenger. Yeah, this is one of those things that you and I just love to do because, you know, it's fun and we kind of we get some. Let's just say we get some stuff off our chest, you know. And so tonight we're going to start with a little bit. I talked to Jerry Grant last week. And Jerry would love to meet you, would love to talk to you. And one of these days, we'll get on, maybe the three of us. But we talked a little bit about education versus experience. And I got quite a few comments on, and it went a little bit both ways because I'm not totally against the education. But
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes the education, something will click in my brain. I'll see it, I'll hear it. And then I go try to educate myself about it. And then I feel like I move into the experience part of it.
Yeah.
Because I have to experience it. I have to have that hands-on to learn. So give me a little insight on what you think about it.
So, yeah, there's definitely a lot of more education out. YouTube, university, a lot of trainings. A lot of companies offer trainings. A lot of detail guys offer trainings. I have guys asking to work for me for free so I can train them all the time. So I think education obviously is good, but if you don't put it to the test and get going, nothing's going to come of it, right?
So, and that brings me to another question. Do you think that somebody can get the education through the experience? If they were to just go out and just start doing it and doing it and doing it repetitively?
Well, I mean, that's what you and I did because we didn't have.
Right.
In the 90s, I started in 1990. I didn't know any other mobile guys in 1990. There wasn't internet and all that stuff in 1990. I had a hose bucket, some soap in the back of my 4Runner and an extension cord to vacuum.
Right.
And I was doing washes for like $10. I mean, it was a long time ago.
Yeah,
that's how I started, but I made a million billion mistakes. And I asked a lot of questions to people I could find, but detailing wasn't anything back then.
Not like
but
it is
there
now.
Is a lot of fine educators out there and trainings. I know a bunch of guys I would refer people to, but you know, a lot of times it requires travel, the cost of the class. It requires quite a bit of money. But yeah, there's nothing better than getting your hands dirty and learning, right? And even with a product, I get people bringing me products all the time. I mean, I tell 99% of them, no, I'm just not interested. But there's a ceramic coating guy that keeps coming by and he's like, will you try our product? I said, everything I have ceramic coated, I'm not going to use it on a customer's car unless I've proven it.
Right.
So Cody has a little Toyota. We're going to maybe use it on the front hood and fenders on it. So I need to test things. I need to let it sit out in the sun for weeks. We need to let birds shit on it. We need to get water spots on it. We need to wash it. That's how I know coatings are good. And that's how I sell like Modesta or S-Tech PPF tint. Everything I have it's used on all my regular customers, my family, cars I see and wash constantly.
So that goes, again, another question that I have for you is that, and you and I talk about this extensively, is that you and I both, I think on my side of the fence, I do a little bit more playing around than you do because I can afford that. Where in the sense is, and it's not a money afford, right? It's not a money issue. It's the issue of you and I have two different businesses. We just do. I mean, and that's why I love talking to you, is because we share a lot of things. And I love seeing you grow. I love seeing what you've become and what your business has become, and your boys and your employees. But you have, and I think this goes back to what I think people can learn from you, is because you have a business that is established, and you have a business that you have to keep on track in order to stay efficient and stay profitable. Does that sound good?
Sounds exactly the way I do it.
So when it comes to 300 different guys knocking down your door wanting you to try their products, you already have products in place that work, that you like, that you can teach your guys how to use the way you want them used, which creates efficiency in my mind.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, my boys have been with me for years. Cody's been with me for years. Jake's been with me for about a year. And we have the colored towels and pads and machines and compounds and polishes, and everything is systematic. The way we do everything down to the last everything. So if I go and throw in another product, if it makes sense and it's just going to save me time and money, fine. But to retrain a whole system, to throw it in there, is kind of like throwing a wrench in the spokes.
Especially when you don't know if it's going to work or not. I mean,
yeah, and of course, everybody that calls me, emails me, texts me has, we got the best thing, we got the newest thing. I'm like, prove it, or just leave me alone. I don't mean to be an asshole, but like I've always told you, this is like my little dream cloud over here, man. Things are efficient. We're busy. I got awesome guys. I got awesome clients. Everything's just going great. Awesome vendors. And why mess it up? Nothing's really that great that I could throw it in,
And I think that's the thing that you and I have when we talk and we do these podcasts. We always try to, and I don't know if it's teaching people or just telling people or what, but trying to get people to understand that putting systems in place and systems that work and leaving them alone and just becoming more efficient with them is a good business strategy. And so I think that's the one thing for me, is that I like talking to people about products and processes and things like that. But I also want people to be efficient and to be happy doing what they're doing. And I think if you're always chasing the next shiny object, you're never settling into that efficiency or into that systemized area where you can be, profitable.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at any successful businesses, like McDonald's is always the best example.
Yeah, always.
I'm not a big fan of, I don't eat there.
Right.
But even In-N-Out, I like In-N-Out's good. But if you go to In-N-Out and just go inside, it's just like they have like 4 things you can get, and they sell a freaking billion of them every hour. And all the kids working there, everyone's just in this system. Everyone knows what's up.
And everybody knows what's expected of them. And everybody knows.
They start offering, they got burgers and fries and drinks and shakes. If they go, oh, we're gonna throw onion rings in all our restaurants, they're probably like, oh, dude, do you know that would take to retrain the billions of people that work for them, get the machine in there, move things around? If it's working, just leave it alone,
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, and I'm one where I like, you and I talked about this before. I love my customers, my guys. I love my vendors too. Okay, so Adams Polishes, Anaheim. I don't post them a lot, but I could throw a rock. If I threw it hard enough, I can hit their building. Okay, they give me a great deal on their biggest customer, but I don't go in there thinking I'm their biggest customer. Those guys are all my really good friends now, Brian.
Right.
And you know how much work they've sent me? PPF, tint, ceramic coatings. People go in there, ask. If they can't do them, they show up here.
So, and that goes to, and I have my, and we could do a whole nother episode on, in my opinion, we could do a whole nother episode on the whole Adams polishes things, right? And we won't get into that. I use Adams products, not everything, but I just think they've been around for a long time. They've been proven. And I don't believe in the retail versus detail thing anymore. At one time, I think there was that. I don't believe that anymore. I think that gap is closed to the point now of where products are products, they work or they don't. That's how I look at it, right?
Retail versus detail.
So a lot of people in the industry like to talk about the fact that Adams products are a retail product. They're not a professional detailing product.
So you mean as far as cost or as far as quality?
It's both. They're like, if you can buy it at Walmart, which I just was in Walmart today and there's some Adams products on the shelf. I think my opinion of it is, and whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know. Somebody can tell me. I feel like Adams has been around for a long time. And I feel like Adam Patelli was a amazing business owner. He did what he wanted to do and he did it well. And I think he made a decision. Do I want to sell to 10,000 detailers or 10 million people? I think it's a numbers game when you're in business.
Well, he did sell too.
What's that?
He sold Adams.
Yeah, he did. But what I'm saying is
he's the nicest guy you ever met still.
But I feel like for somebody like him who's done what he's done and he's done it as long as he has, he's done it right.
Oh, he did it right.
Yeah, and I mean, people are always bashing Adams, and or at
I
least
think maybe the only reason I would say now is because he's not super involved, so it's lost what we have here is the family dynamic. You come in, I'm like, "What's up?" I'll always be like that. When corporations take over, I don't use everything from them because there's certain things that I'll just take it back and go, I hate it.
Right.
So I don't use a lot of their stuff. But I think I have a friend that always says, and I believe it, I could go to Harbor Freight. If I didn't have anything, let's say I was in your hometown,
right,
visiting you, and you said, hey, my buddy has got this car. Can you help me paint correct it? And I don't have anything. We could literally go to
Harbor Freight.
Harbor Freight. I could buy everything there. They have McGuire stuff.
Yeah.
And get the same results.
That's because that's the skill behind it. I'm a very firm believer in the fact that if you truly have skill set, you can make things work.
Well, I don't know about how you think, Brian, but every single car that comes in here is a different thing I got to figure out. I get these kids all the time DMing me. How do I do this? What's a one-step paint correction? How do I 3-step a Volvo or something? I'm like, I don't know, dude. Do what I do day in and day out. I get all my pads, I get all my stuff, and I figure out what works, and then I tell my guys to do it.
Yeah.
Everything's different. I don't freaking know. I got this 24 Buick out here. One step. Do my brain. It's a single stage paint job.
And that's one thing that I've always is a lot of people don't talk about what are you working on? Because not everything's the same.
But even if if I have a black GM car that's a 2015 and then a 2024, it's not the same process. No. Paints have changed. Everything's always changing. But the bottom line is you got to go out. This is where it's education
versus experience.
This is where experience comes in.
Yeah, you have to
figure it out. And even though I have 40, 50 years of experience, I just gonna say I got a 24 Buick out there that has single stage paint and it's freaking hammered. Cats scratch the shit out of it. And it's my buddy's car, and he's like traumatized on the damage they did. We're pounding on this car, but I had to figure out we're doing a 4-step on it because it's so fragile. And there's pinstriping on there. I got to mask off because we don't want to take it off. It's all hand pinstriped.
Right.
But I had to figure out. And then a fleet truck comes in. I got to figure out. We're just doing a 1-step, the best pad. I went through 3 different pad 1-step combos to figure out the best one. 3.
So let's kind of let's take this in another direction in the sense of, because you and I, people will look at us and go, well, you're just old school. And you and I have had this conversation about old school. Why isn't old school common? Why isn't?
Yeah, I was talking to my customer. He's a little older than me, and he ordered a Porsche Turbo that he wants to bring here. We're going to do full body PPF, wheels off, everything. And he has all these questions. I told him to come back when Justin's here doing PPF. He can really answer his questions. So he spent 30 minutes here, and then we're outside kind of saying goodbye. And he goes, Paul, I'm sorry if I'm wasting your time. I go, what do you mean? Like, he's my neighbor too. I go, you're my bud. I want you to be comfortable spending that kind of money on your expensive car. I want you to be comfortable here. Get all your questions and concerns addressed. And I go, I like chatting with you. I go, I always say this is old school, but this should be normal. And that's how I came up with that. Like, why do we call things old school? I mean, at least how we deal with people. Are we kind, considerate, caring, giving? That's what I mean by old school, the way it used to be. Most people were just, we didn't have all these devices and distractions. You'd have to, go knock on your neighbor's door and borrow, if you needed to borrow eggs, and you'd end up talking for an hour because you don't text each other. You don't email each other. You know what I mean? So old school to me should be, it should just be common how we are. We shouldn't have to call it old school.
And how you interact with people and how you build a relationship with people. A lot of people nowadays would consider how you and I build relationships to be old school. And to me, that's building a relationship. And that's just how we've always done it, because that's what's always worked the best.
But not just work at the best, but don't you just feel alive when you're treating people kind and respectfully and
and
caring for other strangers? I don't know. It's just how I don't want to say should. I think that's just the way we were designed to be,
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just think with all the devices and the way we, get everything instantly on Google, we're not patient. We don't have to really try anything. So I think the next generation, I'm worried, about the next generation. But my boys are amazing. My little circle's amazing. So that's why I don't really venture out on looking at a lot of things, because I'm just building a great thing here that's just so amazing.
And you're just doing your thing and making it work.
Yeah, go home to my wife. She's rad. Come here, my kids. Like, dude, I got this freaking dream. And, I kick people out of here if they're not on the wavelength, dude.
We've had that conversation.
Yeah. One of my neighbors, she came in and I was not nice, but man, she came in with the most negative. She was screaming about someone parking in her spot. And I'm like, get the out of here. And then I came back in and shook off her energy. I'm like, hey guys, get back to work, put in the music, see ya. It's my world, man. Don't mess with it, dude.
Tell everybody about, so you just had a gentleman come in with a truck?
Yeah, 75 C10.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit, about how that all played out and what he told you.
So we're all in there working. My doorbell goes off. Alex lets him in. I'm on the phone. He's standing there. I don't know who he is. I get off the phone. I go, "Can I help you?" He goes, "My name's Dan." And I, of course, shook his hand. "Hey, Dan, I'm Paul." He goes, "A lot of my buddies at this car show told me all about you. I just finished my truck. It's an expensive truck, beautiful truck, 75 Chevy C10. And he wants to get paint correction. He wants to get paint protection film on the hood, ceramic coating. So we're chatting. I'm like, "Is it here? I need to see it." He goes, "No." So I go, "Well, go get it. Can you bring it back?" He goes, "Really?" I go, "Yeah." I go, "I'm pulling in like you own the place when you get back." I always tell people to do that because I want to see it under my lights. So we're working. I'm actually in my office, and I hear this boom, like, chugga. And I look on my cameras, and he pulls in. Go out, beautiful truck. Spend like 30 minutes with him. Pulling out it's his baby, man. He wants it protected and answering all his questions, and showed him our PPF tint shop, introduced him to all the guys here. It's what I do with everybody. Just made him feel like home. And then came in my office, booked it, got a deposit, and then we're just chatting on the way out. And he goes, "Paul, I went to 12 other shops before your shop." I go, "What?"
Man.
I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I've been looking for a shop to bring my cars." And he goes, "I went to 12 other shops." I go, "Well, fill me in on that. Why?
Yeah, why so many?
What makes you want to be here and not there?" He goes, "Most guys just sell. They don't even want to see it. Like, oh, it's $5,000 or whatever the number is. They didn't spend the time with me. Some shops, I'm like, dude, I don't want my truck in that shop. It's disgusting. Like, it makes no sense to me, but people do that."
Right.
And he goes, "You shook my hand. You gave me all the time I needed. You made me feel like family." He goes, "I'm going to be a customer for life." I go, "Right on, dude. Like, I can't wait to get my hands on your truck." So I just keep it relational. I'm not fake. It's just how I've always been. You can ask my wife and my kids. My dad was like this. I worked with my dad at a very young age, starting at 10 years old. And he always just treated everyone with respect, and he was kind, and he shook hands. And that's how I've always been.
Which is the way you should be when you're trying to build relationships with people.
No matter what you're doing.
No matter what you're doing.
Like, my wife and I went to a farmer's market this weekend with our son. There's like, let's say 30 stands, people selling bread. She's selling mushrooms, and this guy's selling soup. And man, the guy, we met so many people like, "Hey, you want to try a sample?" Yeah. So then my wife's like, "I'm going to go meet with the soup guy." And I walk up, man, and dude, this guy's energy was just like, and I could tell my wife was just like, dude, like, we had to beg him for info. I'm like, "Why are you freaking here?"
What?
And my wife is looking, and she goes, "Look how many vendors have their head down on their phones and nobody at their booth."
Yeah.
And that's just a classic example of where we are in humanity. Most people didn't even have their phones. They're like, "Hey, you want to try it?" And then we spark up a conversation. This is what mushrooms do for your brain and your health, and you can put it in your coffee. And other people, we just didn't even go because it was so late.
So do you think, I don't know, I guess I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like people, especially like, because we go to the farmer's market too. We do that a lot. But I feel like people are not taking a step back and truly focusing on where their money comes from. Who's, and I hate to say this, but you're like, who's paying your bills?
Yeah.
And people go, "Well, I'm paying my bills." No, how your customers are. If you run a business, your customers theoretically are paying your bills. And the ultimate goal for you is to make money. And in order to make money, you have to treat people right. That's just how I look at it.
I think people, you want to talk about education versus experience. I think a lot of people get caught up in this processes. Like, I say pick your passion if you can make money on it like me. I love what I do. Every day I freaking have always loved it. And then we've got good at it. But the thing I've tried hardest is reading, listening to good podcasts, changing my mindset, being a better person, getting to know people, learning how to have that, like having kids help me learn to look at each kid different, put myself in each kid's shoes. How do you deal with them? They're not all the same.
Right.
No one's the same. So learning people skills is so important. And learning people skills, you learn about yourself. Like we could always be better, but that's such a huge thing that the detail industry doesn't talk about too much. I think if you want to go do some education, man, start reading about, being a better person, people skills, communication skills, all that kind of stuff, and put that into practice.
Yeah.
Of course, you got to keep learning the processes, but that goes for all, hands down, everything in humanity. No matter who you're talking to, what you're doing, you're always talking to someone for something. Those people skills are key.
Yeah, and again, not only people skills, but I mean, part of the people skills is, again, just be nice, treat people with respect, and just, when it comes to some type of a business transaction, make them feel important, because they should be. Because there's way too many other choices in life today to go somewhere else.
Especially detailers, man.
Especially detailers.
I couldn't believe I'm in Southern California, so I know there's got to be 1,000 shops. I don't know. I don't pay attention. I don't really.
Oh, did I lose you?
Digging for them because I could care less. I just do my thing. But
sorry about that. You guys lost both of us at the same time. So you were talking about Dan and how you never had anybody say that to you, that they'd gone to 12 other shops. I mean, there's so many other choices, but we don't really know what is going to be the deciding factor for somebody who's shopping.
Well, most of the deciding factors here are because if you read my reviews, it's because I gave people the time of day. It made them feel seen, acknowledged, heard, and gave them a great gift of their car. Like, dude.
Yeah.
But every step of the way, communicating, honesty. And that's what builds great customers, especially in a service business.
Right.
I mean, we're in a freaking service business.
Well, and technically speaking, and I've heard a lot of other people say this too, is that detailing is kind of a luxury service. I mean, people need their car.
No doubt.
Yeah, so we should be even more willing to ramp up how we interact with people, knowing that there may come a day when they don't need us, because they need their car. We know that, right?
Yeah.
But do you need a clean car? Like, if there's an issue in the world and you need to get from point A to point B, are you going to be worried whether or not it's clean or not? I mean,
so on that note, here it's very important to at least my customer base, because we have the best weather. Like, literally, I think Southern California might be the best place on the globe for what we do.
Yeah.
Weather-wise. That's why it's super expensive to live here. Tons of cars, tons of people that want their cars done. But, I mean, when COVID hit, dude, we lost 50% of our mobile.
Of your mobile.
Our mobile detailing. That's all I was doing back then.
Right.
Very little shop work, and that pushed us into where we are today.
Right.
But, I've had customers for over 20 years that I would do anything for them. They would do anything for me. I've had my Sprenger customers since 1996, before I even met my wife.
See, but that's relationship building. That's people skills. That's, I mean, that's a tribute to you on who you are, how you behave, and how you treat other people. That says a lot.
Well, I think I wake up every day thankful, and I treat every customer like I could lose them tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't think like, oh, my shop, we're bitching, man. We're all that. Like, I don't think that way. Every new employee I hire, every new service we do, got bigger shots. I'm still just me, dude. Little old me, living my life. Thankful as all get up, and that's just who I am, and I'll always be that way. But I think there's a lot of pompous people around here.
I think there's a lot of pompous people everywhere.
Like that, and I'm like, okay, dude, just whatever. Just do your thing. I don't care. I don't follow a lot of people. I don't watch a lot of people because I don't want to make it seem like I'm such a douchebag, but I just have such a great life. I protect it.
Right.
I'm building this now for my boys. Now I'm ultra protective over it.
Right.
And I take everything personal. That's probably my biggest. To where you have to be careful as a detailer. I see a lot of guys posting, I bid this job as a one-step correction and coating. I couldn't handle it, and I did a two-step correction and coating. And that's where you can really hurt yourself financially, because now you're spending more time. And on that note, it's all about the education and the time you spend with that customer before you book the job.
True.
I want to see the car. I'm going to tell them what a one-step correction looks like, or enhancement, whatever. That's the big fight now, correction.
Yeah, the word.
If we're going to just polish, or if we're going to compound and polish, or we're going to heavy compound and polish, or we're going to color sand, compound, there's so many things we can do. It all makes it more money. I got to see where their budget is. I always ask people, most people will tell you what their budget is before I even say anything.
Right.
I can see where they're at, and then we just go from there.
Well, and
this costs a fortune. My payroll costs a fortune. Yeah. So I got to make sure we're all taken care of.
Absolutely. And I think it's a lot easier to figure out what service fits when, and I'm not saying this in a derogatory or negative way, but I think when you know what somebody's budget is, I think in their mind, they kind of sort of know what they're looking for too. You know what I mean? Or go ahead.
I was going to say the average person doesn't know what it takes to do what we do.
No, but I think they know kind of sort of in their mind, they have an idea as to what they want. They just don't know how they're going to get it, or if they can get it until
they know what they want. A lot of people think perfection, coding, takes a few hours and a few $100. Yeah. And it's like, so that's why I'm a big proponent of come in, look at them, just watch them do a little fender and watch how long it takes just to do heavy compounding, let alone compounding, polishing, coating or waxing, whatever we do. It's just time consuming.
Right.
But when they meet me and see the love I have for the trade, and the love I have for people, and the love I have for my guys, and the love they have for me, and the love they give into their cars, like, dude, it's just, people are just like, damn. Yeah. And it's not fake. It's like all real. My guys are giving 110%. I can't bring them back to anything other than that, dude. So when I bid jobs, people want something they want to pay 80%. I'm like, come here, watch Cody on that one black wheel. Just watch him for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He'll do one spoke. I can't do it. So it's just all about education.
So in your mind, are we talking educating the customer? Educating the customer, I think, is just as important as being educated about how to do it.
But so let's say this, Brian. There's two forms of education.
Absolutely.
Okay? I can go get a book or take a class and learn. Or I can go out in the field and make all my mistakes and figure things out the hard way. And now I'm ultra educated.
Right.
Correct?
Correct.
And I can't educate someone if I don't know shit.
Right.
So you just can't stop moving forward and living. I'm still learning all the time, dude. I don't know everything.
We all are.
Yeah, but I'm having the best time of my life, I'll tell you that.
And I think that's the thing is learning from each other has been huge for me.
Yeah.
And I think learning from other people is huge, but I think understanding that you're going to make mistakes along the way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just part of it. That's part of the learning process for me. You know, I may not like it and I may get pissed off about it and I may not have nice words to say, but when I make a mistake, it takes me back and I go, oh, shouldn't have done it. Should have done it. I should have done something else, you know?
But you also have to have the balls to go out and try new things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And you just don't have fear. Like, you're going to mess up. Just, we all do. If I'm not messing up once in a while, dude, I'm not trying anything.
Not trying anything new.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I even mess up on stuff I've done for a freaking 100 years and just go, okay, dude. Dude, we had a Maserati in here, and I'm going to town with my rotary. A few of my boys just did some things to cars, and it cost me some money, but they were just like, shit happens. Yeah. So I'm just cranking around with my rotary, dude, just hammering on this thing. And I get to the back bumper, dude, and I'm just freaking, I'm in hammer mode. Stupid hammer mode, dude. And I get the bumpers all painted.
Yeah.
I get close to the corner, dude, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? I burnt the paint. I'm like, oh my God, you idiot. This is just like 2 weeks ago. So I got these great guys that do spot painting in my parking lot.
Yeah.
Cost me $500. You can't even tell. In fact, her garage door hit all along the bottom, which I was trying to get out, and he painted just a giant section for like $500. I go, boy, everyone come here. Everyone came over. I go, I just burnt the paint. I make mistakes. I'm telling you guys. And I go, watch. I took a picture and text my customer right there. And so we all make mistakes, dude.
Yeah.
If you take responsibility, everything always works out.
Always works out. Mm-hmm. Always works out. So, well, Mr. Sprenger, first of all, thank you so much for being here again tonight. I appreciate it.
Time flies, man.
What's that? Time flies. I know. Do you have give me one last great, just give me a burst of old school. Give me something that, something that's gonna. What do you have to say about old school that you think everybody needs to know to understand about it?
I'd say maybe put your phone down more often than you have it in your hand. Go take a walk. Sit in silence. Go out in nature and just look. Try to quit thinking so much. Time to just chill I'm sure you do the same as me. I get on my phone sometimes and an hour goes by. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
You just get caught up in it. So we need to be really conscious about that.
I caught myself the other day with it, and I looked and I scrolled a little bit and I went, you know what? I just can't do this today. I just tossed it on the kitchen counter and I didn't touch it for like 8 hours.
It's nice, huh? Oh, that's the thing. I needed you and was calling you. You just blew me off.
Yeah, no. That's old school.
Yeah. Yeah, just the phones and the social media. I mean, of course, we take advantage of social media. Works very well for us.
Yeah.
But like when people come in, I saw you on Instagram, like Dan today. I go, well, do you feel like you've been to our shop? He goes, yeah. I go, does it feel the same? He goes, it's better. I go, do I sound like the same person? He goes, yeah. I go, do I feel like the same person? He goes, yeah. I go, that's my goal. I don't want to be an actor. I don't want to be fake. So social media has been great for us, but yeah, you get caught up on reels, man.
Yeah.
Got to be careful.
Got to be careful. So, Paul, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. Everybody else who's listening, watching on YouTube, thank you so much for being here for episode 60. And guys, just do me a favor, simplify the shine, and don't forget to go out and share the shine. So, guys, thank you so much for listening. So, thank you so much for watching. Paul, we'll catch you on the next one, bro. Thank you.
All right. See you, Brian. Thanks, bud.
Have a good night.
Bye.